Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian. The USS Gerald R. Ford, America's newest supercarrier and a ship that's been under fire for bomb elevators that don't work as advertised, challenges with its catapults and everything right down to its gearboxes, is back out to sea after 15 months in port for a post-shakedown maintenance period. U.S. Navy Secretary Richard Spencer visited the ship over the weekend and after his tour visited with a small group of reporters in Norfolk, Virginia. Our very own Mark Faram, our man in Norfolk who covers the Navy as well as pay and benefits issues, was one of those reporters. He taped this discussion that Secretary Spencer had with reporters. We apologize that the recording begins immediately after Secretary Spencer began his remarks.
Go out this morning to spend some time with the crew and to see what's going on. And to be very frank with you, Friday we had some work in the Pentagon that had some real head busters on it. And one of the great aspirins I got was at noontime. I got an 8x10 photo of the Ford steaming out of Norfolk, going out over the Big Blue, which is exactly where she belongs, and that was our goal. What did we see out there today? We saw an energized and a group that is seamless between our uniformed people and our civilian teammates getting after the ship and making sure that we're going to be mission capable. 7 moving elevators, of which 4 are certified. We have 3 others that are under various forms of testing. That's 11 total that we're working on, but 7 out of 11 we're getting better. We see an energized crew and an energized team, and that is the main thing that I was concerned about. They're knocking down 22,000 work orders in the last 2 months to get ready to go. Their shoulders are to the wheel and their attitude's in the right place. It was great to see both our naval forces and our civilian friends doing what they like to do, which is to be out on the water. So any questions?
How long until she's ready for combat?
How long she's ready until we actually give her to the Navy to make her combat deployment, we're going to let you know. That's going to be way before 2024, I guarantee you that.
A little bit of a dust-up this week, sir, with Congresswoman Luria about the proper role of congressional oversight with Ford. When it was the president, of course, who originally said the ship is no good, it takes Einstein to operate, and we ought to go back to steam. So is it okay for the president to raise questions, but not the Congress?
No, if everyone listened closely, my issue that I had, the frustration I had with the comment, had nothing to do with oversight. I totally get oversight. That's the role of Congress. What I was just concerned about was the fact that I have a whole bunch of people on both the deck side and pier side working their hearts out, and to have disparaging comments like that didn't really help me at all to get to my goal, which is to get the ship out. Oversight, I get it. Help is what we're looking for to help us go forward.
Can you expand on your comments regarding Huntington Ingalls? Obviously a lot of frustration there in terms of getting these elevators up and running. Your comments suggested last week that perhaps there might have been a lack of communication between the shipyard and the Navy when you said, all of a sudden they came to us and said, well, geez, these aren't working. Do you feel that you were updated adequately?
No, that's a great question. So my frustration, and I want to make it perfectly clear, what we saw today is the HII team on the deck working seamlessly with the Navy to knock down these problems. My issue is with senior management and the board of directors. I do not believe that we did have an understanding of their understanding of the issue as translated to us. All through the fall, we had a July 15th sail away date that they were fairly confident they were going to get all the elevators done. Then in May, all of a sudden, or March, I beg your pardon, it was out into 2021, 2022. That was a bit of a gut blow, which questioned, in my mind, do they really know what the problem is? Navy came in and did what we should have done earlier, but we did it. We took control of the situation completely as it pertains to the elevator program itself, along with the rest of the ship, and we got the issues knocked down. I want to make sure that the senior management and that the board of directors at HII, Newport News, are aware of this and applying the appropriate resources to get us tackled down. Their workforce is doing a great job.
How comfortable are you? Obviously, this is probably the ship that has crammed more technology. There's talk about biting off more than you can chew. As you see over time, things are starting to even out and you're getting it right. But talk about, EMALS and AAG and the combat systems, radar, that stuff. How comfortable are you that those are past, the problem stage?
So you bring up a good point. I mean, the way that this was originally envisioned was to roll out these technologies in various stages of ship hulls. And then in 2002, I think it was Don Rumsfeld turned around and said, load them all up on the first one and let's go. That is a pretty big bite. But to the total support of everyone who's been involved in the program, it's been tough, it's been hard, but right now, as we're sailing out there right now, dual band radar is working, the EMALS planes are certified, ready to come on board. We did 747 traps last cycle. You'll see us do more going forward. AAG is working and signed off. The major technologies that we've put on board this ship are working. And a shout out goes out to those people who provided those technologies because they're making sure they're working. I looked at Raytheon just this weekend. When we left, we had some casualties on the dual band radar. They worked overtime to get it done and make sure we're out there right now with DBR working at 100%.
Ford aside, that same congressional hearing this past week raised questions about the status of the rest of the Atlantic carrier fleet. You got Bush in a 28 as opposed to 16-month maintenance, the electrical issue on the Truman. What is your confidence level in the rest of the carriers here in Norfolk?
The confidence level goes back to actually how we're doing maintenance. The confidence level is high. Remember, at the end of the day, we're meeting the requirement. Are we doing it in the most efficient and effective manner? No, and I'll tell you why. We had 10 to 12 years of op tempos that kept increasing. We had the Budget Cap Act that was signed by Congress. We had sequestration, we had the CRs, we had everything working against us, and yet a continual op tempo increase. We should have kept an eye on that. So now what's happened? We have the money back. I thank Congress for that. 2 years of funding sends a signal to industry. They're gearing up. They've geared up. We're getting ships through on the surface side faster than we were before. Do we have a lot of way to go? Yes, we do. We have our shipyard modernization plan. That's going to cost money. That's infrastructure dollars. We'll get after that. But ladies and gentlemen, the benchmark state of our surface warfare ships were at an all-time low. We have to get them up to a standard level where we can get them through maintenances quicker. So they're not going to take 30 months at a time.
For 3 suicides on USS Bush, 2 on the same day back in the month of September. Your level of confidence, your level of hope that we as a country and as a Navy and as a military figure out a way to solve this problem?
That is a terrific question. It rips my heart out every single time I have to read, and I get them directly every time we have a suicide. We are knocking on every single door. We're pulling on every single string to see how we can get after this. We're looking outside the wire to see what the private sector is doing. As you know, it's a national epidemic. By saying that, though, doesn't make our case any easier. We have, at last I saw, we have about 12 efforts underway throughout both the Navy Marine Corps team trying to get after this, which is monitor your friends, talk to your friends, make sure people are connected. And again, working with the doctors, the psychiatrists, the psychologists, all to figure out every single body's focusing on this issue.
We've got time for one more question.
Looking ahead, we're going to christen the Kennedy December, flooding dry dock tomorrow. The struggles you're going through with Ford, you obviously know what these bumps are now. How is that going to inform the Kennedy?
That's a great question. So if we look at what's going on at Kennedy, Kennedy is about 3.2 million man-hours ahead of where Ford was at this exact same time in its life. So we're on an 18% curve there as far as learning goes. The issues with the elevators that we're slaving away with, when we find a fix here, it's being immediately walked over to the Kennedy and to follow-on ships also. I think what you're going to see is learning put into action with Kennedy, and you'll see it out quicker. I'll take, since we had two hands up simultaneously.
I was going to ask actually almost the exact same question.
You must be thinking of another one.
How excited are you for Kennedy and seeing how she's moving and seeing her? She's going to be in the water soon. And
well, let me not just say how excited I am at Kennedy, but how excited I am in Ford and the whole Ford class. I mean, we were out there actually talking about the differences, what we've done for fueling, what we've done for efficiencies on this ship compared to the Nimitz class across the board, let alone these technologies. What we've done for ergometrics that make this a more efficient, effective ship are really exciting. We're going to see it in Ford. Seeing Kennedy come to life is absolutely fantastic. I mean, You look at what the Navy's doing here across the board, not alone with carriers, but what we're doing with the F-35, what we're doing on the DDG front, what we're doing across the board are some pretty amazing things, and we're doing them faster and quicker. I will say, do we have to get after surface maintenance? We definitely do. It's right front and center of me. We're working on it right now. We've reached out to the private sector to help us, how they do maintenance. We're bringing in best practices. We will get this fixed.
How happy are you with Admiral Gilday so far?
Love Admiral Gilday. He's doing a great job. He and the Commandant are really going to make an integrated naval service team that where 1 + 1 = 3. Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
folks.
Thank you, sir.